All right, hello, hello. Let's do this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you want to, please give this live stream a thumbs up. That always helps. I'll give you a thumbs up too, because you're amazing. Yay. Yay for you. All right, cool. So this is going to be a group energy healing where I heal 146 people in 12 different countries. This is the second in the set of 3 healings called the November 2022 triplet set. And it's going to be awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the hellos. All righty. Okay, so I'm going to try to do more quick nutshell things rather than on and on descriptions. We'll see how that goes. Those of you that know me know that's challenging for me. Anyway, so the nutshell of the last healing, the healing on Friday, 2 days ago, 1 of 3. Again, the theme for this whole month is power, confidence, and flow under pressure. And the first healing focused more on the power aspect of it. And sort of conceptually, I introduced this sort of breakdown of power that the angels mentioned to me, which was power, like personal power, is 50% not getting crushed by external forces and 50% not holding yourself back internally. So there's that. Some people like that wrap up, that little way of looking at it, and that sort of, we went from there. And some people felt no different after the healing, which always happens. Sometimes there's just too much life things happening, or sometimes you benefited, but you're still not engaged enough into enough parts of your physical body that you're noticing how you're changing and you feel it physically. But many people did feel changes, and a number of people felt like sort of big changes. So if you did feel big changes and you're wondering why, there are 4 likely reasons. One is just the 5 essentials part that we start every healing with is so key. It was the first healing, in like, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. And so maybe you just needed the 5 essentials that badly. And so you got all that stuff repaired and unblocked, and the extra presence and flow from the 5 essentials, which is grounding, aura repair, chakra repair, creative ring repair, and good karma window stuff back here. That was what made the difference. So that's one of the 4 potential reasons that people felt a big difference. But the other 3 are the extended sinus mask unblocking, which is blocks here in your sinuses or in front, anywhere in your astral body or physical body auras in front of your sinuses, which also extended part of it includes all the way down in front of your spine, sort of this whole region. So within, but also in front of, especially. So the mask aspect is just that these blocks oftentimes are pressed up against. Sometimes they can be out a bit, but a lot of times they're pressed up against, so they take on the form of that part of your body, and so it looks a bit like a mask. That's why I call them sinus masks. So anyway, that is one of the possible reasons that you felt a big improvement. Or we did avoid this blocks. We looked for blocks that you labeled to yourself. I'm going to avoid this, avoid this, like note to self, avoid this. And that label can be so effective that, you've been avoiding that, clearing that energy block for even lifetimes or just a couple of weeks, depending on when you put the label on. So the avoid this blocks for some people was big. Clear stop it blocks. was big for some people. You could have like even just a distant relative who's especially triggered by your progress in life and at some point just tried to shut that down, or an ex or a sibling or a parent, or happened in a past life, but it's still, these stop it blocks are still there. So the stop it blocks are external. They're from other people in your space trying to stop whatever, your creativity, your expressiveness, your productivity, your whatever. So those four things, the 5 essentials, the clearing extended sinus masks, avoid this blocks, and clearing stop it blocks. So for some people it was all huge, but for some, generally, if you felt a really big night and day difference, it might have been just one of those things that just really was like, wow. So just a heads up, because if you do feel a significantly good difference from a healing, it's you tend to be able to get even more value if you can look over what was done, look over the chapters, and pick what made such a big difference, and then like redo it periodically after that, just to keep the good vibes going and go a little deeper with it. So that's the little summary of healing 1 of 3. Okay, so today's healing, I am not going to be as wordy as I was 2 days ago. I mean, it was useful information, but it was long. And today I want to just say a little bit here and then see how it goes as we do it. So the little bit that I want to say, we're obviously still working on the theme, power, confidence, flow under pressure. And the focus I want to do is has to do, I'm going to use a dry erase board to show some stuff. Of course, I don't have a gold dry erase marker. I don't know that one exists even. So you're going to have to sort of imagine for the gold part. I'm going to use an orange dry erase marker to represent gold in this case. But it's about your 7th to 8th connection. That's my little shorthand for it. It's the connection between you, the part of you that can be present in your life, and your 8th chakra. Your 8th chakra is an energy center of yours. It looks like a big gold ball or big gold sun above you, above the top of your aura, either a foot above or even 10 feet above your aura, depending. It comes in and out depending on how engaged. It's like a part of your higher self, but as more of an eternal spirit. And so depending on how like interested you are in what you're doing at the moment, your 8th chakra will move more towards the top of your aura if you're more engaged in it. Whereas if you're watching something on Netflix that's kind of stupid and surface, then that part of you might be more high up at the time. Anyway, so your 8th chakra has a connection to you. And this drawing, I'm sure, is very flawed. So at one point I had this judgy art teacher who would watch me and she would be like, your drawing really isn't that good. I'm an art teacher. So I'm just warning you that this drawing is not great. Okay, so here we go. All right, so let me label. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of work on the 7th to 8th chakra connection today. So here's my amazing diagram. And yes, I'm being sarcastic. But anyway, so like I said, orange is really gold. Okay, you just have to imagine because I don't have gold markers, gold dry erase markers. Anyway, so this is your 8th chakra. And this sun, so it's like a gold gleaming shining energy center. So there you go, that's your 8th chakra. And then your 7th chakra of your astral body, that's the one that connects to your 8th chakra, and this connection is longer in distance, but you know, just to fit it on the dry erase board, the proportions are off, but you know, whatever. So this is your astral 7th chakra. So it's in the top of your astral head, you know, right, just right in there. And energy flows, you know, through it, your energy, hopefully, and it generates energy, right? All chakras generate energy. So purple is the correct color for correct and maybe optimal color for either 7th chakra, physical or astral, right? And then what can happen is, and what we're going to work on a lot today is, what can happen is you can have a hard object represented here by the black horizontal thing going in there, a hard object that got thrown into this 7th to 8th chakra connection at some point, piercing it, causing damage, and then either the person that caused the damage is cording the hard object and just sending junk downward. So that messes with this flow of knowledge and healing energy from your higher self down to your 7th chakra of your astral body. So it's like it messes with so many things. So that's what I'm going to play with today, is fixing this kind of stuff right here and then seeing how much that affects really critical things within your space relating to personal power and confidence and flow under pressure. So, and I drew this as black, this hard object, but the hard object could be white or it could be silver. Those are probably the most common energy colors or energy vibrations, that it would be white, gold, white, silver, which are really fast moving, too fast, or black, which is very low, too low. But a lot of hard objects are those colors. They get thrown. And obviously very bad karma to do this to somebody. Would never, ever recommend that you would do that to anybody for any reason. Because karma's a bitch, and you don't want to pay the price later. Tenfold, 20-fold. I don't know how that works, but it's the big price you pay when you mess with people. So anyway, so we're going to be removing these hard objects and making sure that we recycle all the invasive beings anywhere in the area, so that the extra gold light that we use can repair up this connection. So there's no more gash and there's no more hard object right there. So therefore, then it's like some of these little black streams of yuck aren't there anymore. So then it's just more pure. It's more just the gold light coming down into your astral 7th chakra. So that's the basic idea. We're going to be what you can do is you can also sort of intuit like, okay, if I'm intuiting this connection, right? This, you could call it a cord, but a lot of times we use cord to mean a connection between you and something external that's not you, right? Like an invasive being or an invasive person. So this is you and you. So that's why I like to use a different term. So your 7th to 8th connection, but it should be ideally like a gold flowy river in a gold flowy tube. And the energy just goes downward from your 8th to your 7th. And again, it's like your eternal energy and wisdom and healing energy that you've gained from all sorts of lifetimes of experiences. And it tends to have a very calming, empowering effect. And, you know, so like you make realizations and you realize things aren't, you know, it helps you to like not freak out about the tiny stuff. It gives you more of a big picture wisdom. So that's the idea. Hope that makes sense. And we will also do healing on both physical body and astral body 7th chakras. Because sometimes it's not the hard object that gets all the yuck in there. It could be just some energy blocks in the connection. Maybe like right near the 8th chakra or somewhere up here. But it does seem like these hard objects, you know, introducing large streams of foreign energy is the biggest issue. So we're gonna work that. And it could be that somebody threw that hard object, you know, like 2 lifetimes ago, and they don't care about you anymore. So they've sort of abandoned the hard object, but it's still there. So it's an easy access point for other people to cord it, or to just, you know, like there's energy leaking around it. So invasive beings can just sort of hang out right there. So it's not necessary that the person who threw it still cares about you at all, you know, wanting to be invasive. It could just be the fact that it's there with the damage. It just messes with the flow. So we don't actually have to worry about who the little hard objects are from. Although, you know, if it just takes a second for you to intuit it, you know, go for it. You know, how long has this device been there? You know, this hard object, how many lifetimes? Has it just been there a week? Has it been there all year? Has it been there since you were 2 years old? You know, whatever. Who's it from? But don't lose sleep over if you can't tell. You know, just if there's too much yuck here, suspect hard objects. You know, get rid of the invasive beings around the hard objects. You know, and you can do this with your thought and your intention if you don't see energy yet. And hopefully the diagram helps you to do it more confidently, even if you can't see. So if that helps. And when we do it, I'll show the diagram again, not the whole damn time, because I don't want to hold it up the whole time. But maybe if I keep doing this, we may not need to do it longer than today, but maybe if I keep doing it, then I would do a screen capture and have it up all the time, like get all technical. We'll see. We'll see. So that's the main thing. But I'm going to be watching how that helps, you know, whether you're clearing cords, whether your manifestation wings are doing their job. Manifestation wings are behind you. They look like giant angel wings when they're properly functioning and healed and whole. They generate a ton of gold light, so they're very big for personal power, manifestation wings. And so, but they can get really shut down, and we could do a lot of direct healing on those. But if doing that sets off a really positive chain reaction within you, and all sorts of blockages just burst off of you as part of that chain reaction, it's more efficient and potentially much more lasting. So that's the idea. It's like when you unblock this 7th to 8th connection, it's like a realization process, because like I said, so much eternal wisdom comes through that connection to your astral 7th, that it's like this aha moment. And so sometimes, you know, you can you just realize things that you didn't realize before. And unblocking sinus masks can do that as well, because like I said, well, I didn't say it today yet, but I said it a lot yesterday, 2 days ago. The sinuses are related to telepathy, nonverbal communication, and hearing your angels. So the more you unblock them, the more you're present there and here, the more you're likely to hear your angel knowledge. So anyway, enough of all that. But that's the idea, is realizations. Hopefully, these it sets off the positive chain reaction where you make decisions and you just don't put up with stuff anymore. So we'll see. Because having to repair constantly, but you're not really usually people think they're not making progress, but they are. But obviously, I would like the progress, and I'm sure everyone wants their progress to be more lasting rather than 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Work really hard, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Work really hard again, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Usually it's not that way. And you're working really hard. You take 4 steps forward and 2.5 steps back, and you're like, oh my God, I'm back to square one. But you're not. You're still 1.5 steps ahead of what you were, but that exhilaration of the 4 steps forward, and then you go back, you're like, no, my life is all just terrible monotony of awfulness, and so usually that's not really what's happening, and as I read surveys, it's easy for me to notice, yeah, you actually are making progress. It's just, a lot of times when you're stuck in your 4th chakra too, you get this really dramatically tragic view of yourself and your progress in your life that's not actually accurate. And that's viewing from your 4th and not from your 6th. So then you tend to have these high expectations that something's going to fix everything, and then it doesn't, and then everything's ruined and life is awful, and oh my God, why me? That's when you're viewing from your 4th, that's how it feels. So try to, I used to say it all the time. I haven't said it in a while. Try to, touch your 6th, view from there. That's your command center. Your 6th and your 7th are your command centers if you want to just not get stuck in sort of a really sucky, shitty soap opera version of your life. So that's that. So yeah, so I'm going to challenge myself to do 1-minute summaries more. So the 1-minute summary is we are going to work the 7th to 8th connection and repair it and unblock it enough and see if the positive chain reaction from just that is giant enough to help manifestation wings and help you just sort of burst out of energy blocks all at once and melt cords. And so that's it. 7th to 8th connection. That's today. Okay, so I'm going to quickly look through chat comments before we get started. So somebody, I think, said hi, but they took it back. I always wonder why people take back things they say in chat. Usually it's nothing scandalous that they said, so I never know why. But anyway. Someone says, good evening from Ireland, Muckamore, Ireland. Someone says, hello to you. It says, hi, Janet, can see and hear you from hazy San Francisco, California in the US, 59 Fahrenheit. That's somewhat, well, for us, that would be quite warm for November. Or December, sorry. Wow, we're in December. Yes, we are in December. Hey, Janet, we can see and hear you from Chicago. 53 and sunny. Wow, I would take that. But is it insanely windy there at the same time, making it feel like 30? I'm exaggerating, but 53 and sunny does sound very nice. I hope you enjoy it. Someone says hello from Michigan. Hello to you. Someone says hello, Janet and everyone from Las Vegas. Hello to you. Hope you're enjoying warm temperatures there. Thank you for explaining about blocked nasal intuition and angel connection. Yes. No problem. Yeah, that's why we care so much about sinuses. That, and it enables you to eat more cheese and not pay the price. But don't go overboard. But yes, working your sinuses is a spiritual thing, I have realized. Not windy, a beautiful day. Ooh, very nice. Chicago does have nice weather. It just has a lot of awful extreme weather mixed in. All right. And out here in Olympia, Washington, in the northwest part of the US, it is very cloudy and somewhat dark. Although it could get darker. Like in the winter here, it's like, is it dark? Is it dark, dark? Or is it dark, dark, dark? Or is it actually bright? You know, it's, I like to notice the gradations in cloudiness because it cheers me up rather than thinking it's always cloudy. Ah! So I would say it's cloudy and like moderately dark, but not raining. Always looking for the bright side. Someone says, hey, Janet, can see and hear you. Thank you. We have, you're not allowed dumps from others. You're not allowed dumps from others. We didn't do that. We did stop blocks from others, and we did avoid this blocks. So you're not allowed. I think that's the stop it blocks would be the same thing. Yeah, that's what stop it blocks are. They're basically, yeah, you could call it stop it, or you're not allowed to do that. Same difference. But yeah, the stop it blocks that we did 2 days ago, they are always from other people. You're not telling yourself to stop it. For those blocks, the way I was talking about it, it was, yeah. And it's a little confusing the way I labeled them, because I labeled like avoid this blocks. That's your message to yourself to avoid it. But the stop it blocks are from other people going, stop it, and putting that, you know, a hard piece of energy, well, an energy block, you know, a condensed piece of a message in your space somewhere on that. And then you guys suck on it. Hello from Chicago. Hello to you. All right. Okay, so this would be super quick. But for newbies, if you don't know what I'm doing, this is a group energy healing. It's for the people that purchased this set of 3 healings either 2 months ago or since then on my website. My website is jwhealing.com. And I'm healing all those people, but those people don't have to watch live for me to heal them. But it doesn't mean that everyone watching live, I'm healing. You know, like if someone just random finds the live stream and starts watching, they are super welcome to watch, but they would be healing themselves as they watch. They could. And so that's how they benefit, is they learn from the information and they heal themselves as they watch. Anybody can, even if you've never healed yourself before, you've never even understood what energy healing is, you could just kind of wing it. I call them adventurous newbies. If you want to be an adventurous newbie, and just go for it. It still works. You know, sure, you know, if you're doing this for like a year, you'll be a lot better at healing yourself than day one. But day one, still, you can make some really cool difference for yourself. So gold light, you have a big energy center in the palm of each hand, your hand chakra, and then an energy center in each fingertip. And those ones generate energy that sends outward. And so you can, go like that on yourself directly. But a lot of times in the healing, I'll be using a copy, and that's what you can do as well. Just when you're healing yourself, you can make a copy of yourself out in front of you, like a mini copy. And so, all your auras, you have 17 auras, your astral body and your physical body are inside those auras. And then you have 2 groundings that connect your astral body energy system and your physical body energy system all the way down to the core of the earth. So those groundings help you release and receive earth energy. So that's the gist of it. That's the copy out in front of you. And the copy can be of everything, or it can be just of like your hand if you're, or maybe your lower back and the auras behind your lower back. It's hard to do direct healing that way. But if you just imagine your lower back and the auras behind it, you can do a better healing of it using a copy. So that's what I'm demoing, and that's what you could do while you listen, is use gold light from your hands. And you don't have to be able to see gold light, and I do mean metallic gold like this glitter. You can do everything with your thought or your intention, because most likely when you're starting this kind of work, you don't see jack. You try, you close your eyes, you're like, okay, I'm trying to imagine myself. Oh, all I see is black. This is so boring and distracting. I don't know what I'm doing. That's usually how it feels at first, for potentially a while, but hopefully, you get the grip of it. You start grounding and you realize like, okay, my mind calms when I ground, and then you just kind of wing it. Just create the copy with your thought or your intention, even though you don't see it yet. Your vision isn't great yet, but you just go for it. So that's the idea. Just go for it. And I do 5 of these big group healings every month. There's a set of 3, and then there's a set of 2. So you're welcome to purchase a set of healings on my website, jwhealing.com. Or like I said, even if you didn't purchase, you can watch live and heal yourself, or use it later as a video and heal yourself. Within a day, there are going to be chapter titles that you see at the bottom of the video. And so you can click on one of those chapter titles and they'll all pop up on the side, and you'll be able to see all of what I did and realize like, oh, that sounds interesting and it's only 7 minutes. Let me click on that and go right to that section. So that's the idea. And all the themes coming up through between now and February are on my website, jwhealing.com. And I will be, updating that and putting more themes so you can kind of see ahead a little bit what's coming. And currently at the moment, January healing sets are available for purchase. And in 7 days on the 15th of December, February sets, February healing sets will be up for sale on my website. That's that. That was newbie stuff plus sales stuff all mushed together. So now I got all that out of the way. We can do the 3 minutes of quiet, and then I'll start the healing. Towards the end of the 3 minutes of quiet, I'll start healing without talking, just so I can kind of get in the zone there and rock it. And then after that little quiet part, I'll talk out loud and say everything I'm doing as I do it for the most part. And so you could use it as an all levels walkthrough if you want, and heal yourself as you listen. All right, so now finally quiet for just a few minutes as I finish my prep. Hey, thanks for waiting. So you could redo both your groundings if you want. Make them big and wide as both your auras. Bring them up high as your third chakra, which is below your sternum bone. So bring up your groundings that high and make them both the same color. Red or orange or yellow would be ideal in either of those three colors. And you can make a copy out in front of you of both your groundings, astral and physical, and just imagine them in the same place, or imagine them separately if that's what you're in the mood for. But you can imagine them together, because if you're reasonably present, they're in the same place. So use gold light from your hands, and you find the blocks and melt them away. Because your grounding is for releasing all the way down to the core of the earth, all the junk that's not you, and then it gets cleaned out and goes to wherever it belongs. And no, that does not tire out the earth. It's okay. Okay, indie grounding is where you check the outer surface of both of your groundings and you melt away any junk that is maybe sticking in the outer part of your grounding, like from outside your grounding sticking in that was thrown there, or attachments between your grounding and other people's groundings. So just melt all that away with gold light so that it's just you releasing all the way down to the core of the earth, which with no sort of entanglements to other people. That way your grounding works best, and their grounding can work better if it's not plugged into you. Even if you have young kids, it's a lot better, actually. With young kids, that might be even more important to have their grounding go straight down to the core of the earth and not into yours, so that you don't end up hating each other by the end of every day. All right, so that's grounding. Okay, Uncord backlash people. So imagine yourself, even if it's just through intention, you're just like, you create an image of a blob out in front of you to represent yourself or whatever. And then imagine your backlash people. What are backlash people? They're people that throw shit at you. Either just blasts of energy or blasts of energy with hard objects. But they get triggered by something that you're doing or how you're doing well or what you say, whatever. And they can throw energy. Usually subconsciously. They don't know they're doing it. But anyway, so you imagine all your backlash people. You don't have to know who they are to do that. And then do not interfere with them. Do not talk to them. Just act normally. Don't try to ruffle their feathers, because clearly they don't like that. And then just imagine the cords between you and your backlash people, because that's pretty common. And a lot of times that's why they become backlash people, because they're too piped in to what you're doing, and so it triggers them too much. So just melt away any cords. Use gold light. Don't send it to the backlash people, but just use it in and around your aura and melt away all the cords between you and all the backlash people. And that will enable you to make bigger strides forward in this healing and in general without them feeling like yanked around and affected too much by it. And so then it's a lot less likely that they would backlash, and just throw shit because of your growth. So again, imagine yourself, imagine the backlash people, and just imagine all the cords and melt them away. And some of those cords can be that you made them to the backlash people, probably, hopefully subconsciously, but still. And so melt those too, because any cords between you and the backlash people can get you in trouble. Because when you grow, it can send a blast of energy through the cord and disturb them to the point where they get pissed and throw stuff. Melt all those cords. Okay. So then, and also you can make a pile of baggage out in front of you that the backlash people have been cording into, and just make sure you melt all that baggage. All right. So that's melting cords to your backlash people. You'd repeat that as much as you need to. Especially if you have significant backlash people in your life, like, you know, you feel like you get whacked a lot. Good thing to repeat. Okay, so we're going to jump right in to do what I was talking about as the main thing of today. And then after that, we'll circle back and at some point do the 5 essentials, because they still are essential. But I want to see how much this 7th to 8th chakra connection work affects everything. So let's do it. So I had shown the image about it. Right, so in this image, since I don't have gold dry erase markers, the orange represents gold, the color. So that is your 8th chakra, and the proportions are off because, you know, the astral 7th chakra fits in here, and the 7th to 8th chakra connection is at least, you know, 5 feet long. You know, so your astral 7th chakra is like this big at most, and then, you know, the 7th to 8th connection is, you know, at least, you know, this long. So whatever. But so astral 7th chakra is what connects to your astral 7th chakra, is what connects to your 8th chakra. Your 8th chakra contains your eternal wisdom and healing energy, and so it gets sent down as gold light in this one direction flowing cord, this special cord between your higher self and you, your astral 7th chakra. And so what we're going to do now is look for the junk in the flow, like the impurities, and how much is it impure, and then look for the hard objects that have caused the damage. And remove them and recycle invasive beings in the area and heal that up, so that then the crud doesn't keep coming in to the connection. And you can start by, you know, thinking of your 8th chakra and kind of feel the copy of that. You don't have to heal your 8th chakra, but then, you know, it's gold until right here, and then that's when the crud starts coming in. So at that height, that's where you look for the hard object to see why there's crud from there down. That makes sense. All right. So you imagine your 8th chakra, nice big gold sun. You imagine your astral 7th chakra. Set it to your favorite shade of purple. Oriented this way, round opening on the top and the bottom. And find where the crud starts to come in. Your 7th to 8th connection. So it's nice and gold. Oop, right there. The crud starts coming in. And then, so it's at that height of the cord, the connection, that there must be a hard object and or damage, but probably the hard object is still there. So then you can use your intuition and figure out how long it's been there, what color it is if you can't see, who it's from, but it doesn't really matter. So if that's going to freak you out or confuse you too much, don't bother. And then surround the hard object with gold light. And you can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings anywhere near this hard object and this damage, can you please recycle those beings? And then use gold light and just ease out that hard object. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. And use gold light and start to send it to that ripped part. And it might not automatically repair fully because there maybe still are some invasive beings that have noticed and showed up and now they're in the way. So you can say again, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? And then just keep working out the ripped little part of your 7th to 8th connection till it just kind of heals up fully. And then typically, if you're present enough to feel your healing work, if you're not, don't worry, just keep the faith, keep doing it. But if you're present enough, normally that'll feel like, whoa, you know, whoa, in a good way, a good whoa. So then just notice, okay, so how much, you know, look for, again, the crud. 8th chakra, astral 7th, connection between your 7th and 8th. It's gold until right here. So then at that height, that's where some hard object is probably still stuck. And it could be a series of hard objects, like, you know, 4 different black spears or something stuck in there. So just surround them in gold light, get ready to remove them, but it's less drama if you get the beings out of the way before you do it. So angels, can you recycle any beings in this area at all? Anywhere near this area? And then surround those objects in gold light. You can remove them one at a time if that's more fun, or remove them all at once. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. And start using lots of gold light in that ripped little section of the 7th to 8th connection. And if it's not fully repaired yet, there's probably because invasive beings are in the way. So you say, angels, if there are any invasive beings, can you please recycle them? Keep doing it until you feel that, like, whoa, good chain reaction, because then that's usually when it fully repaired right there. So I'm going to look for a second at some sample people to see what difference that made, and we'll probably do more of it. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to do collapsing gold nets and a little more grounding before we again do that 7th to 8th chakra connection repair work again. So imagine all of yourself, so all your 17 auras, your 2 big wide groundings, hopefully big wide groundings. If they're not, just recreate them so they're big and wide all the way down to the core of the earth. Imagine your astral body and your physical body within your auras, and comb through all that all the way down to the core of the earth. So unblock your grounding, make sure it really is wide, and look for any traffic jams in your grounding, even at the very bottom. Like, just look for those blocks and melt them. You want a lot of releasing. Like, that's, you know, if the waterfall image helps you, it's like you should have the only problem is that waterfall looks white, which you don't want your grounding to be white. So you want like a red waterfall or an orange waterfall or a yellow waterfall. But really strong flow and nice and wide all the way down. And collapsing gold nets is where you imagine all of you and you make a big cube of gold netting that's bigger than all that. Strong gold netting. And you collapse in the gold netting and let it tangle up everything that's not you and drag all that junk out. Give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. So again, giant cube of gold netting, strong gold netting, collapse it in so it tangles up everything that's not you, including invasive people, including invasive beings, and just drag all that out. Angels, here you go. You don't want anything interfering with what you're doing, you know, especially this like bigger work that we're doing. So again, big collapsing gold nets, collapse them in, drag out everything that's not you. Angels, here you go. All right. Good job. So now we will again do more 7th to 8th chakra connection repair work, removing the objects, etc. So it's like this diagram. I'm not going to repeat it again. I already explained what we're doing. If you need the explaining, do the section of this, the earlier one. This is the second time we're doing it. So the first time there's a short explanation. That's pretty good. And also in the intro discussion, I talked about it. So imagine your 8th chakra like a big gold sun. You imagine the connection, gold connection, gold flowy connection down. Hopefully gold flowy connection, but it's a connection between your 8th chakra and your 7th chakra, your astral body, 7th chakra, you as a spirit. So the astral 7th chakra, set it to your favorite shade of purple, or favorite at the moment, shade of purple. And imagine that connection. It should be just, it's one direction flowing downward. Gold wisdom and healing energy coming down from your 8th chakra. And it's pure up top where it starts. But if there are impurities, at some point they begin. And so find the part where it starts getting cruddy. You know, like it's pure and gold. You know, imagine that orange is really gold. And it's pure and gold until starts getting cruddy. I can tell intuitively or visually, I can see some crud mixed in. So you find that part and then look at that height for some kind of hard object, spear, dagger, whatever thing, or a series of them. And then surround them in gold light. You're going to be removing them, but first just get the angels to get rid of beings, invasive beings that are around. So angels, if there are any invasive beings plugged into all this, can you please recycle them? And then just more gold light and just ease out those hard objects. Give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. If there are any extras, ease them out. Angels, here you go. Just keep using gold light to wash out that ripped area until it fully repairs. And there could still be some invasive beings that showed up to plug themselves in and get in the way. So angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? And just watch, the rip might be getting smaller and smaller, but still there. So keep using gold light. Maybe you missed one or two more hard objects. Remove those. Angels, here you go. More gold light. Angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way. Go. Recycle them. There you go. So now, again, sense that 7th to 8th connection and the gold light, and just see how much gold light, you know, like what percentage. Maybe it's like, you know, maybe it was 50% crud and 50% gold light, and now it's, you know, like 60-40, 60% gold light and 40% crud. Or, you know, it could be, you know, better percentages than that. But that's the idea, is you want to go in that direction of being more just the gold light from your 8th chakra coming down. So sense, but you don't want to be so like judgy and, you know, whatever, like invested in being perfect that you don't really see what's going on. You want to see the crud. So don't be bummed if there's crud. Like, it's a good thing. You can discover, and then you can improve if you can see the crud. So 8th chakra, gold light coming down in that connection. It's all gold until, whoop, right there. So find that part. And so there's got to be some hard objects and or rips at that level where the crud begins. And just surround those objects in gold light. And say, angels, if there are any invasive beings anywhere near this area, can you please recycle them? And then just use gold light, remove the hard objects. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. And then more gold light so that you can clean out and repair that area. And there could be some extra invasive beings. So just say, angels, can you please recycle these invasive beings in the way of this repair? And if your repair process is quicker than what I'm doing and walking you through, you can just find more and keep doing more. And that is true in general. So again, just comb through. So that one is resolved now. It's all repaired. So just, again, 8th chakra, imagine that 8th chakra to 7th chakra connection, the wisdom coming down, your eternal wisdom as gold light coming down. And it's all gold until, whoop, there's where the crud starts. So good for you. You found it. And so just surround the hard objects in gold light. You can't see them, just imagine them. And say, angels, if there are any invasive beings around this area, can you please recycle them? And then just use gold light and ease out those hard objects. Give them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. Use gold light to repair that area. Angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? Maybe you missed a few of the hard objects. Lift out them. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. All right, good job. So now again, I'm going to be looking. See how people are doing with that. If you want, you can just chill out, have your healthy beverage, or you could just comb through, double check your grounding again as I'm looking. Deep breaths are always nice. Okay, so this time we've been doing an awful lot of repair of, removing hard objects in the 7th to 8th connection and repairing the gashes in the 7th to 8th connection. And that has made quite a difference for people. So you can notice the difference it made for you. Notice your manifestation wings, the that are potentially big gold wings in the back. They look like giant angel wings. They're part of you and your astral body. They can generate lots and lots of gold light. If they're messed up, they could be black and ripped up and just compressed. But anyway, you can notice your manifestation wings. You can notice if you've just automatically knocked a whole bunch of people out of your space or melted a whole bunch of cords, or you're more present, or maybe you don't feel different consciously, but just notice that. But now we're going to unblock the 7th to 8th connection. Actually doing it. So that section was notice the difference. Right. Now we're going to do what I said, which is unblock your 7th to 8th connection. So not so much hunting for these hard objects that are introducing lots of guck, because invasive beings and invasive people can hoard them and take advantage of that damage. It'll just be to look for blocks. So it can look like clogs in the connection. And they can be very close to the astral 7th chakra, the clogs, but they can be anywhere along here. So we're going to unblock 7th to 8th connection. So just comb through that, hopefully much more gold flowy connection between your 7th, astral 7th chakra and the top of your astral head, and your 8th chakra, which is above your auras. Just comb through that connection, 7th to 8th connection, find a clog, and use lots of gold light and just melt it away. Find another one, comb through your 7th to 8th connection, find a clog, and just melt it away. Using gold light from your hands. So again, have that copy of your 7th to 8th connection out in front of you. Comb through it and find the clog, find a clog, and surround it in lots of gold light so that it melts. Somebody's corded into the clog, just melt the cords and then melt the clog. All right, good job. So that was pretty quick work, I think, because we did the first thing first, that repair stuff first, and so it put everybody in a more empowered mood. So then the other stuff was quick. Okay, so we'll quickly, hopefully quickly, we'll see, but blow through the 5 essentials. I'll leave the waterfall up. Maybe that's nice. But redo both your groundings. You probably changed a lot with that 7th to 8th chakra work, 7th to 8th chakra connection work. So redo both your groundings, both red or orange or yellow, both the same color, and comb through them. Notice the flow, the downward release. Melt any blocks in the way of that or slowing that down. Comb through the bottom of your auras, like from around your knees, your ankles, and below your feet. All your auras wrap beneath your feet. So just unblock all that. So anywhere around here, in all your auras, all your 17 auras, especially around here. Comb through and find the blocks and melt them away. So we already did that, but I'm just putting it in the heading. All right, good enough. Most people's auras did repair a lot during the 7th to 8th chakra connection work, but some people that had especially bad aura damage still need a little bit of it, so we will do it. You make a composite copy, with your intention, you make an image of a rip, and you, with your intention, you say, okay, well, rip represents all the rips in my 17 auras that I need to repair. And so then as you work this copy, you are repairing those rips. So you have the composite copy rip that represents everything, and just clean it out. Use sticky gold wax, which is gold light from your hands that hardens and sticks to whatever's not you. And then that way you can remove all that junk as a lump, big thing all at once. Angels, here you go. The sticky gold wax, get rid of all the junk. Angels, here you go. Including getting rid of hard objects that may have been thrown in there that actually created the rip. You want to get those out. So more sticky gold wax, lift out the hard objects. Angels, here you go. And then just use gold light, get it as deep as you can into the rip, so that it starts to repair. So this now is just regular gold light. It's not sticky gold wax anymore. And just use gold light to repair. You can say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? That probably repaired most of the rips, but we'll do that one more time just for any leftover rips. So make a composite copy of any remaining rips. Sticky gold wax, get rid of the junk. Angels, here you go. Sticky gold wax. Angels, here you go. Including hard objects. Get those out. Angels, here you go. Get the gold light as deep as you can in the rips so that everything starts to repair. All right, good job. So just check out the edges of all your auras. You don't want any leaks, and you may have just teeny little pinhole leaks still. So just make sure you repair all those. If the leaks won't repair, then you may have hard objects stuck in there causing a break that you're not aware of. So just lift out the hard objects. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. And then gold light should be able to fully repair, unless there are invasive beings in the way. So you could say, angels, if there are any invasive beings in the way of this repair, can you please recycle them? All right, and then you could redo your gold buffer zones, which I have a video on that. Search Janet Wright gold buffer zones to find it if you want. Okay, imagine your 3 gold rings above your head, your creative rings. They are part of your astral body energy system, so they come and go with you as a spirit. Make copies of those 3 gold rings out in front of you so that you can repair and unblock them. You want the flaps that are around the outer surface of the 3 gold rings to relax and fall shut, so that's nice smooth surface. So this would be if they are not relaxed, they are irritated and sticking out. And if that happens, then it's just easier for people to chord and sink a pair of cords in to the open flaps. So you want to just melt all the cords and just work it enough so that they relax and fall shut. So it's a nice, smooth outer surface of all 3 rings. And all your chakras, the round openings, have those flaps as well. So it's the same idea. Right now, let's work on creative rings. And somebody mentioned like, oh, it's always hard for me to see my creative rings. You could have a couple invasive beings that are in your creative rings, but are also in your 6th chakra. And so they kind of shut down your vision because they would prefer that you're not seeing what you're doing. And that's easy for an invasive being to do. So you could just imagine your creative rings, and then maybe I'll go full screen right now. Just imagine your creative rings, a copy of that, and then your head, and then your 7th chakras and 6th chakras, and just any invasive beings that are like sort of linked in all that area. Creative rings 7th and 6th. I just freeze them, drag them out for fun. Angels, here you go. I mean, you could say, angels, can you recycle all these invasive beings? But, you know, dragging them out is kind of, brah, I'm in charge. So creative rings, 7th chakras, 6th chakras. I'm just showing the orientation is different. 7th chakras are oriented this way, 6th and 6 all the way down to 1. They're oriented this way with the round opening in the front and the back. They're not this big though. Anyway, imagine creative rings, 7th chakras, 6th chakras, and, you know, sticky gold wax, stick to all the invasive beings, drag them out. Angels, here you go. Drag them out because you're the boss. Not only you're the boss, there should be no employees in the facility. So you should be the only the only being in your space. So creative rings, 7th chakras, 6 chakras. Freeze anything that's not you in those areas. Drag it out. Angels, here you go. And if there were some invasive beings that are smart enough to like get the heck out of the area temporarily while you're working it, let's get those too. So just imagine again, 7th, your creative rings, you know, the 3 gold rings, and then your 7th chakras and your 6 chakras. And imagine any invasive beings that just like moved out temporarily from those areas. And say, angels, can you recycle these invasive beings? All right. So again, creative rings, 7th chakras, 6 chakras. Imagine if there are any invasive beings in that area. It could look like smoke. It could look like white sort of paste. It could look like black mud. It depends, but just if you wanted examples of what it looks like. And just freeze all that junk, drag it out. Angels, here you go. So creative rings, 7th chakra, 6 chakras, freeze the junk that's not you, drag it out. Angels, here you go. All right, good job. A little extra repair, just make sure you melted all those cords going into your creative rings. Flaps are nice and shut. And while you're at it, you could relax the flaps in your 7th chakras. Purple's a nice color for your 7th chakras, but they're oriented this way. 6 chakras oriented this way. Like a cobalt blue is a nice color. Any kind of deep blue is a nice color for your 6 chakras. Anyway, just melt cords going into your 7th and 6th chakras so that you can be there. I mentioned in the intro, 7th and 6th chakras, using those as like your command center, your place of perspective, place where you view things, helps you to be more empowered and feel less oppressed, and, you know, so that you're not lost in your hardships. You might still have hardships, but they won't feel like too much. if you're in your 6th and your 7th, viewing from there. Yeah, and melt cords so that the flaps around the round openings of your 7th chakras and your 6th chakras, the flaps can relax and fall shut. All right, and then you can comb through all your chakras, your major chakras along your spine, 7 through 1. 7 is in the top of your head, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Melt the cords. All right, good enough. So chakra repair and unblocking. Most likely a lot of that was done as part of that positive chain reaction from us repairing your 7th to 8th chakra connection. So you could just intuit that or notice, like, was there a chakra that was damaged that is now fully repaired or partially repaired, even though we didn't directly repair it. We just worked your 7th to 8th connection and let that positive, empowering force of you coming in more repair things automatically. But there may still be some repairs that are needed. So we'll repair all chakras at once. Just make a composite copy of, out in front of you and have it and say with your intention, okay, this represents all my major and minor chakras. So minor chakras includes all the acupuncture point chakras, bigger chakras to just keep flow through your limbs and your legs and spine and all your joints. There are chakras around all your joints. So anyway, so have one copy to represent all your chakras, major and minor. And just use gold light and melt cords. Typically, the cords are going to go into the round openings in pairs. But if you had a gash somewhere where there was energy leaking, people could cord the gash as well. But so just melt all the cords and repair with gold light. And at the same time, you're unblocking, it's sort of gold light does it all. So that's the easy part. You don't have to change it up. You can find any energy block clogs, in the middle of your chakras. Melt those. Your intention is you want to do as much as is healthy and gentle to do right now. That's what I would recommend that your intention be. So you can melt the blocks right in place, or you can lift out the blocks. And sometimes that's kind of interesting. And then either blow them up or melt them away. Lift out the blocks. You could hand them to your angels too. Angels, here you go. Lift out the blocks. Angels, here you go. So I say very often that the only cord that you would want to keep is if you have young kids, like 12 years old, 13 years old, 11 years old, or younger. At some point, that first chakra cord is not necessary between a parent and a young child. But until then, until wherever your intuition says, yeah, their first chakra functions well on its own, you don't need the cord, right? But otherwise, there's, if they're young still, that young, then, you have a first chakra cord to your young child. However, people can interfere with that cord. And therefore, like say, if this is your first chakra, your kid's first chakra, there's a cord that's good between you and your first and your kids first. But say, like some in-laws, you know, or your mother or your sister or your spouse's sister or your spouse's, usually it's women. Not always, but usually it's women that can get invasive about this connection between mother and child. You know, sometimes a classic example is like the grandparents. They'll be like, my grandchild, and they really, with emphasis on the my, you know, and so they get envious of this first chakra connection because that's between the parent and the child, and they sort of plug in there and try to cord that connection and send their energy. And that can be very destabilizing for both the first chakra of the mother and the first chakra of the child. And dads have a first chakra cord to the child as well when they're young, usually, hopefully. But anyway, so imagine that if you have kids, so this is only if you have young kids, but I'm going to do it anyway. So you can just sit around and, you know, have your beverage if you don't have any kids or pets. You know, pets, ideally, I would say melt away that connection. I used to say, you know, there's a first chakra connection between you and your pets, which might be there, but I don't think it helps to stabilize your pet because you're just too different from your pet. Your energy is much more giant. And so most likely what you're sending them either is going to overwhelm them a little bit or it's going to make them overly dependent. So this is just if you're an actual parent of an actual young child. Just imagine so I should. So I already did the explaining of this. So this is the doing. And this is for parents. First chakra cord clean out. Sorry, I have to fix the colors. All right, good enough. All right, so doing is so this is just if you have young kids. Imagine your first chakra, your kid's first chakra. You don't really have to worry about if it's astral or physical first chakras. But anyway, just imagine that first chakra cord between your first and your kid's first, and just imagine the cord. It should be, I recommend that you set your first chakra to red, and then hopefully your kid's first chakra's at red. If it's at white, that's a problem. But you know, you can just ask your kids' angels to fix that if it's not red. But then this connection between your first and your young kids first, ideally it would be red, and it would be one directional flow between your first chakra and your kid's first chakra. But just check for cords going into it from other people, because it should just be between your first and your kid's first chakra. So melt away the cords. It could be an invasive teacher cording here, or, you know, a friend, a relative, a female relative often. So just melt away those cords. And you can even do like a little protective gold force field around this cord. But, you know, the emphasis would be more on the red earth energy and red first chakra energy coming from your first chakra to your kid's first chakra. You don't want anybody messing with that. Okay, good enough. Good job. Woohoo. And I guess since if you feel like you're advanced enough, you can, of course, unblock your own grounding. But then if your kid is young, you know, below 13 or 12, you could unblock your kids' grounding. Just, ask your angels for help with boundaries. Angels, help me with boundaries. Imagine a copy of your kids' grounding out in front of you, just one kid at a time. That's important. Only one kid at a time. And just imagine their grounding, comb through it. If it's not as wide as all their auras, just remind them to recreate their groundings just with your thought. Hey, you can recreate your grounding, make it nice and wide and flowing. So if your kid has tantrums or whatever, this might be something that you do even daily. The idea would be that you're explaining as you go, on a thought level to your kids so that they can age out of it and they can get used to redoing their own groundings. And ideally, maybe you could use like one of my short videos, like Tricolor Soak, to teach them about grounding consciously, but not everybody is open to that, even as kids. Okay, good enough. That was kind of niche, but it did seem to be a really necessary thing for the people that do have young kids. So I had to go for it. So we're just going to finish up chakra repair. Relax the flaps, melt the cords, lift out the junk. You can blow it up or melt it away. Lift out the junk, blow it up or melt it away. You say, angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with my chakras, can you please recycle them? Oh, a couple deep breaths. Breathe into every cell of your body. Breathe into your auras, your groundings. Okay, so for boundaries in the back of your space, obviously aura repair is important, but we already did that. So further, more than that, your good karma windows are back here in your astral body aura. The flow zone is your physical body aura back here and also in and around your neck. Base of skull points are also important, and your auras behind your base of skull points. That's all important for boundaries in the back of your space so that it's not so easy for invasive people or invasive beings to kind of cord those blocks or that damage and then get further in your space. So to help you be really present and really high functioning back there and safe energetically, let's repair all that. So good karma windows are back here in your astral body aura. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one in each of the layers of your astral body aura. They just look like triple frame windows. Just comb through them, repair them, unblock them, melt any hard objects stuck in there. You could have invasive beings in this area kind of woven through there and going into some of your upper chakras or your base of skull points. So just, you can just freeze anything that's not you in that area and lift it out. Angels, here you go. Freeze whatever's not you. Angels, here you go. Freeze what's not you. Angels, here you go. You can unblock the backs of all your chakras, really. I mean, 7th chakra is oriented this way, so, but 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 are oriented this way with a round opening in the front and the round opening in the back. So you can imagine, say, the backs of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, those chakras, and unblock them. It should be, you know, nice round opening in the back that flows and energy comes out of it in an unrestricted way, your energy, to whatever aura layer it's supposed to go to. Then it wraps all around to the front again, comes back in. So you want, if you have too many blocks back here, not only is it unsafe because it's easy for people to cord blocks, but it just makes life much harder, because then your chakras have to work extra hard. And blocks can contribute to just feeling like crap. So get rid of those blocks. We're unblocking your major chakras and your good karma windows of your astral body aura and your base of skull points. So you can unblock any of those points that you see on the diagram, you know, those dots, and your auras behind them. We could do that. Just unblock. Usually we focus on base of skull points, which are the 2 horizontal lines at the level of the top of your ear and the bottom of your ear. There's like, it looks like 2 horizontal lines of dots of, you know, chakras within those meridians. These are traditional Chinese medicine meridians, but you can really work all these points at once if you want. Just use gold light, have the intention that you're doing as much as is healthy and gentle to do right now at one time. So unblock and repair all the meridians that you see right now on this diagram. Do what's healthy and gentle to do right now. And comb through them and behind them, all your auras behind them, and just collect up all the blocks, melt them away. Collect up the blocks, melt them away. Collect up all the blocks and use so much gold light that they melt away. Collect up the blocks, melt them away. If you have any invasive beings that are in the way, just be like, hey, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings in the way of this work? Melt them away. Melt the blocks. All right. Good job. So that was good karma windows, flow zone. I didn't out loud say flow zone, but I actually did it. So I should say it out loud for those of you being literal with the walkthrough. So this area back here of your physical body aura, you know, directly behind the base of skull and the neck, that's your flow zone, but it also includes your neck and around your neck. So just comb through that part of your physical body aura and notice blocks and just kind of use so much gold light that they melt away. All right, nice. Okay, so with that one, the good karma window section, what was unusual about it is that we unblocked and repaired all those points that you see on the diagram rather than just the base of skull points. So all of those. And I liked it. You can let me know if you liked it. Okay. Okay, so now one of my favorite things to do. We will unblock your biker shorts area, which is shown by these delightful, perfect airbrushed models. So don't be down on yourself if you don't look quite like this in biker shorts. But, you know, perhaps their sexiness inspires you. Maybe. But just imagine your biker shorts area. So every part of your body covered by biker shorts, that would be covered by biker shorts, but also inside that part, those parts of your body and around. Your aura is right around there, like first and second aura layers of your physical body and astral body. Just comb through all that and melt away whatever's not you to the extent that's healthy and gentle to clear right now. And you can melt it all in place. You know, you have a copy out in front of you of that part of your body. You're melting the blocked energy. Or you could just move the blocks out and kind of blow them up or melt them away. Move them to the side and then melt them away. One might be more amusing for you at the moment. You can use gold fire and kind of burn out everything that's not you in that area if you want. Obviously, the gold fire doesn't hurt you. It doesn't really hurt anybody else. It's just maybe a more assertive way of getting out other people. You could use gold sandstorm. That's also gold light, but it's like spinning bits of gold light. So again, that can be a little more assertive sometimes for clearing other people out. And again, look for the energy blocks because it's not really, the problem is not that, you know, your pissy sister is in this area. The problem is the baggage of yours that is like a comfy park bench for her to sit on in that area. So the problem is your baggage in your biker shorts area. So find the baggage that your pissy sister sits on, or, you know, your bossy sibling or whoever, and just melt the baggage. And it can be kind of fun to do because, like, if you're aware of somebody in there and then you melt the baggage, like leave them in there just for a second and melt the baggage first, they can like pop out, which is kind of fun. Pop them out. Oh. And you didn't hurt them. It's just you removed what was allowing them to be there. The same with energy blocks around your biker shorts area. Well, the auras around are included when I say your biker shorts area. So find the energy blocks, melt them away. If they're not melting, if they're like, oh my God, Jen, it's so solid, it's not melting, melt cords going into that area, into the block, and then say, angels, can you recycle any invasive beings going into this block? And then more gold light should melt it away at that point. Otherwise, you can lift it out and give it to your angels. Angels, here you go. Lift it out. Angels, here you go. Lift out any blocks or devices in your biker shorts area. Lift them out. Angels, here you go. Lift them out. Angels, here you go. All right. So go ahead and, imagine, make sure that your spirit is fully in that area, nice and flowy and present in that area. The more that you can stay in that area, in your biker shorts area, it really gives you a level of empowerment. It makes it a lot harder for you to get popped out by triggering events or invasive people. So good stuff. So breathe into your biker shorts area, your toes, your fingers, your spine. Couple deep breaths. All right, good job. Woohoo, you're a rock star. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute as I look at people just to see what's next. Okay. Thank you for waiting. So we're going to work confidence. And there are two reasons. One is we want to improve confidence. The second is I saw that it would really help people have sort of an optimal outcome after the big work that we did unblocking and repairing the 7th to 8th connection. If we did a little extra with 7th chakras, and the reason for that is okay, so say this doesn't have all that black there anymore, or it has a lot less, right? It has a lot less of these hard objects, a lot less of the junk being sent into this 7th to 8th connection. So therefore you have a lot more of your higher self, gold wisdom, and healing energy coming into your astral 7th chakra. Your astral 7th chakra may be working a lot better, but there's also your physical body 7th chakra, which does not have that connection, but has a connection to your astral 7th chakra. And, they both influence each other a lot, physical 7th and astral 7th, because ideally your astral 7th, if you're present, your astral 7th is within your physical 7th. They all fit in, your astral and your physical. So if you have too many blocks in your astral physical, your physical 7th, not too many, but too many for now that you have so much more of your energy, that it just can feel kind of funny. So that's why it's extra important, because of the 7th to 8th work that we did. But it also really helps confidence, which is the theme. So let's go for it. So 7th chakras are oriented this way, round opening in the top, round opening in the bottom, or maybe like this, because I think the bottom opening can be just as big as the top opening, and that's fine. but you can set both your astral body and your physical body chakras to purple. You can imagine them as two separate, imagine them separately, even though really one is within the other if you're present. But you can imagine them separately if you want, because sometimes then it's easier to notice if one of them is more blocked than the other, and you can kind of focus your healing work. But so imagine both your 7th physical and 7th astral chakras, and if it weirds you out too much to imagine them separately, you can imagine them together. It's fine. They should be repaired by now, unless you just got whacked. In case you can repair them. And you want the flaps to be relaxed and fully shut. The flaps would look like this, if they stick out. But the chakra would be purple, ideally. So just melt cords enough so the flaps close, so that energy can come, your energy can come through your 7th chakra. Your 7th chakra can do a better job generating confidence. Confidence, identity, inspiration, focus. Empowerment. Many good things. So imagine any blocks like clogging up the round openings. And just ease out the blocks, melt them away. There is like I said, a 7th chakra filament between your astral body 7th and your physical body 7th. So just unblock that. Make sure nobody's interfering with that. Melt cords going into it, if there are any from other people. You say angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with any of this, can you please recycle them? Imagine your 7th layers, because your 7th chakras, they send energy into your 7th layers. So that energy that's generated by the 7th chakra, and again, that would be purple, but the energy that's generated goes upward to the top of your 7th layer and then flows downward like a pretty purple fountain through your 7 layers all the way, well, through your 7th layer, just through your 7th layer. So it's like this, cool layer where, because otherwise, in 6th, it goes in the front, out the back, and then wraps around the front like that, right? To the front of your 6th layer, and then into the front of your 6th chakra. But your 7th chakra generates energy because it's oriented differently. It shoots up and then it goes down like that, like a big waterfall, purple waterfall. You have a confidence full waterfall. So then it goes all the way to the bottom of your 7th layer down here. And then your 7th chakra draws it all the way back up into your 7th chakra and shoots it up again. So it's kind of cool. I have a video of 7 chakras aura layers flow. I'm sorry, a 3-video playlist that explains all that. I'll link it below again today. I'll link it in the comment section. Anyway, so there's the 7th chakra river above your 7th chakra going to the top of your 7th layer. Unblock that river. And the fountain, flowy 7th layer, flowing downward. And then the bottom of your 7th layer, you don't want any junk or mud there, blocks. Block that. And then that 7th chakra, the lower 7th chakra river from the bottom of your 7th layer all the way up to the bottom of your 7th chakra. That's your lower 7th chakra river. So unblock that. You want it to be like a flowy purple tube with lots of purple flowiness. And as you're intuiting your 7th layer and running your hands through it, just find like if there are energy blocks that really erode your confidence. They could be up in the upper back of your 7th layer. They could be anywhere, but you know, they might be there in the upper back of your 7th layer. And just find some confidence blocks that particularly mess with your confidence, like you're nobody, you're stupid, or you know, whatever. And just surround them in gold light, melt cords going from anybody else to these blocks. And say, angels, if there are any invasive beings connected to these blocks, can you please recycle them? And then just keep running gold light through the blocks until they melt away. So again, you can check anywhere in your 7th layer that you feel has blocks affecting your confidence, but I'm going to do one more time upper back of your 7th layer back there. So blocks that impact your, and we're doing astral and physical 7th layers at the same time. You could do them separately if you want. So find a block in the upper back 7th layer or elsewhere if you want. That really messes with your confidence. Surround it in lots of gold light. Melt cords going into that block. Angels, if there are any invasive beings messing with this area connected to this block, can you please recycle them? Yeah, just keep melting the block till it's gone. You can be also right at the top of your 7th layer. Blocks affecting, they can be, like I said, they can be anywhere, but if you want a specific location suggestion, the very top of your 7th layers, check there for blocks impacting your confidence. Melt cords going into the blocks. Angels, if there are any invasive beings courting these blocks, can you recycle them? And just let the blocks explode or melt away. They're still there. They're not going anywhere. Surround them in gold light. Drag them out. Hand them to your angels. Angels, here you go. Drag them out. Angels, here. So just check everywhere in your 7th layers and your 7th chakra rivers and your 7th chakras for any blocks that impact your confidence. Could be in that upper 7th chakra river or the lower 7th chakra river. Okay. So we're gonna do a wrap up now. And it's gonna have at least 3 things in it, but we'll do them quickly. So healing far off parts of you, you could do that every day if you want. We don't do it as often as maybe we should, but you just imagine the part of you that's in and around your body. So your physical body, but then your astral body and your astral body aura, physical body aura, both your groundings. But then there's parts of you that are far off that just kind of checked out at some point. It could be because, you know, high school math class was boring and you thought it was like so ridiculous that you had to learn calculus because who the hell needs calculus? Or, you know, some other reason that you checked out, you know, maybe something was too overwhelming or too negative and you're like, no, I refuse to deal with this. And so even though you had to deal with it, you know, part of you literally refused and went far away, right? So let's heal those parts of you so that they can be better again and they can come back and then you're more competent because you have more of you here, right? So there's the part of you that's here and then there's the far off parts. And just imagine little mini yous that have checked out and at some point and just running lots of gold light through them. You could, if you want, do like a just gold light and say comforting messages to those parts of you like, hey, it's okay, I swear I'm not going to force you to come back. But you know, things aren't so bad right now and you know it'd be better if you were here to help. And you can say, angels, can you help me heal these far off parts of me? So most likely at least half of those far off parts of you now are on their way back and better and feeling better, and those that aren't, maybe they just need a little more time. So you can, you know, give those parts of you that are still out there just a little extra gold light. Say, it's okay, I'm not forcing you. And then you can also remind these parts of you that, hey, you know, it's okay to let your angels help you. You know, hey, you have angels, your angels can help you. Because sometimes you can get so stuck you forget that. And then you're like, okay, I'm just going to run away. That's my solution. So you say, hey, you have angels. Angels are really big and powerful. They can help. Let your angels help you. All right, good job. So that's healing far off parts of you. Flower healing is quick and easy. You can move your hands when you do it like I do because I like that. It's fun, but you don't have to. You can just make, with your intention, make the energy healing flowers out in front of you. So just make them out of universal healing energy and set them to whatever color is best for you right now. It could be a, you know, rainbow color assortment. It could be gold and rainbow colors, whatever. But just make energy healing flowers for yourself, whatever vibration is really best for you right now to help you to feel your best and be your best. And then just say, angels, can you check my flowers? And then give them to yourself. We'll do that one more time. Obviously, you can do this as much as you want. So make energy healing flowers for yourself. Set them to the vibration that you need right now that would be best for you. And say, angels, can you check my flowers? That way they also can tune them a little bit for you. And then give your flowers to yourself. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, and STEBs. That's what's over here. Hard to read, but stubborn triggered energy blocks. That's what STEBs stands for. So any energy blocks that are still triggered, despite the billions of ways that we did to clear them already. So it's okay. Just pile copies of anything that's still triggered out in front of you, and bring up red earth energy straight from the core of the earth to soak these STEBs. And use gold light from your hands to melt away cords going into these blocks. And just keep using gold light to melt the blocks, or you can blow them up, have them be gorgeous fireworks before they completely destroy. destroy. Anyway, just keep melting them. They're all gone. And you can do that one more time. Copies of any energy blocks that are still triggered out and pile them out in front of you. These copies of these STEBs. And bring up red earth energy. Soak the pile in red earth energy, gold light. Melt the cords going into them from you or from other people. Don't worry about who's cording. Melt the cords. And wash out all your resistance from the piles. And just let the blocks blow up or melt away. If they're still not melting, you can give them to your angels. Say, angels, can you help me with these? All right. And then you can just comb through your groundings. Make a copy of both your groundings out in front of you. Again, make your groundings nice and high as your third chakras. Here below your sternum bone, make your groundings that high. Make your groundings that wide as all your auras. And have copies of both your groundings out in front of you, astral body and physical body. Comb all the way through both groundings. Melt any blocks in your grounding. So you have a very fast downward flow. It's very wide in your grounding, allowing you to release and allowing your auras to release well enough as well, and your body to release. All right. So then as we wrap up, you say, angels, can you please help me wrap up this healing? Angels, can you help me with my power, confidence, and flow under pressure? And of course, since your angels are always trying to help you already, you can just focus on letting your angels help you. Because sometimes we subconsciously have resistance or blocks that accidentally block off angel help. So you can say, I'm gonna let my angels help and guide me today. I'm gonna let my angels help me have good sleep. I'm gonna let my angels help me with my power, confidence, and flow under pressure. All right, good job. You're such a rock star. Woohoo! That's a healing. Whoa! Yay! Good for you. Good for you. Woohoo! Okay. Just taking notes for a second. Okay, so as I've said, within a day, there will be chapter titles down at the bottom of the video in white text, and you can click on one of them and that'll pop up all the chapters so you can jump around easily. All right, so I'm going to catch up on chat comments, and I invite you to go ahead and post a chat comment if you wish. You can post your weather, where your location roughly. I mean, you have to reveal more than you want, but your country maybe, or your city if you want. What the weather's like where you are right now. If you have comments about the theme or anything that I talked about, or how you're feeling after the healing, that all could be interesting. If the question involves me reading your energy, at least put your initials if you don't have your first and last name obvious from the YouTube ID that you're using. All right, so catching up. And if there's too many comments or it takes me too long, I'll just say I'm done before I finish reading them all, because can't go for too long. All Someone says hi. A little wave. Hello to you. Someone says, I didn't see many objects in my 7th to 8th connection. You had a lot. But there was some silver energy. Yeah, but where does the silver energy come from? It comes from a giant spear that was in there. But the problem is that you just weren't able to see. But yeah, you had a lot. I specifically noticed you in advance of the healing, needing this technique. So I would just keep working this. Anyway, you're saying my vision is sharper after doing this work, even briefly. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. I was talking about it. I talked about it in the creative ring section, actually. That was an interesting part of the creative ring section. We did creative rings and 7th and 6th chakras because to help vision. Because sometimes it's easy for an invasive being to shut down your vision completely, or just of a certain location that they would like to hang out in. So yeah, you can have an invasive being that is, hanging out here because you have a big hard object there, and so it's easy and there's a lot of leaking energy, but then their energy can come in through that damaged area and go down to your 7th chakra, and then both your 7th chakras and both your 6th chakras. They get to your 6th chakras, it's very easy for them to shut down your vision because 6th chakra is clairvoyance. So yeah. So you can redo that creative ring section that we did more, and that could do it, or just also when you imagine creative rings, also imagine your 7th to 8th connection and just any beings in that whole area. So 7th, 8th connection, creative rings, 7th chakra, 6th chakra, but definitely 6th chakra, but typically there'll be beings that are in all that area, and then you just yank them out, and angels, here you go, yank them out, angels, here you go. Yeah. And you don't have to see them to do that. You just imagine and just yank them out, angels, here you go. Or just point and say, angels, can you recycle those invasive beings? But yeah, cool. I'm glad you noticed something was going on. Good job. Somebody says about your intro information. I spent a bunch of time clearing my 6th and 7th chakras this week. And I feel so good. Good for you. Very interesting. What a difference. Well, that's cool. So I don't know how it exactly relates to my intro information, like if you mean before the healing starts, except that maybe the unblocking of the extended sinus masks, clearing extended sinus masks allowed you to hear your angels better, and your angels were like, this is what you need to do, and you heard it very accurately and precisely and worked on what they wanted you to work on. So good job. Someone says, thanks, Janet. You are welcome. Someone says, thank you for the section about clearing beings to see your creative rings better. Yes. So that I'll have to maybe change the title of it a little bit better, but yeah, the title, the colorful banner of it just says creative rings, but it's really creative rings and 7th and 6th and getting beings out of your vision. So yeah, that's probably one of the highlights of the healing, I would think. When I meditate, I always have trouble visualizing my creative rings. I can see grounding auras and chakras better. Yeah, so that's something you can keep working over time. Someone says, hi, Janet. Thanks for the healing. You're welcome. Is that popcorn? That's funny. Alrighty. Somebody says, thanks, Janet. Think confidence is going okay, but am wondering if I'm handling work tension. And you mentioned a couple names of coworkers. Or do I need to clear more? Tone it down, cord less. Well, of course, Yeah, if you're courting, you need to court not at all. But I understand what you're saying. At least you're aware of, it's like there's that stage where some people can be in where it's like you're like, oh, my intention is not to court, so certainly I'm not courting them. And it's like you can get yourself into a lot of trouble just assuming. But it's good to see that you're beyond that stage and you're not assuming that you're not courting people. So that's good. Big progress. The first name you listed, you're not courting her. She's trying to court you, but it's not working. The second name you listed, you are courting her. She's courting some energy blocks of yours that are more sensitive. Like you and she have like trauma blocks in common. I usually call that matches. You and she have matches, and so she chords your matches. And that's very sort of uncomfortable when someone chords, like trauma of yours that you haven't finished clearing yet. So that's how I would work your boundaries with her, is just put out in front of you the really sort of deep shit that she's courting of yours, trauma blocks, whatever blocks that are kind of very uncomfortable for you that she's courting. And you can say, angels, is it okay to clear all this right now? Because some of it might be too much to clear right now because it's just, deep stuff. But your angels will remove whatever's too much, and then you can clear all that and melt the cords, and that should help a lot with your boundaries with her. The third name you mentioned, you're not courting her. She somehow is affecting she's courting some blocks in the bottom of your aura, like around your in front of your knees and your ankles, like your lower legs. So you have some energy blocks in your auras right here, and she's courting there, which is kind of interesting. So you could just unblock a little. You don't have to know where she's courting. Just, imagine the blocks that she's courting, and just ask your angels, is it okay to clear all these right now? And then go ahead and melt them. Melt your blocks. The name that you didn't put an initial with, the one name you didn't put an initial with, you're courting her. It's like you kind of like try to sit on her shoulder and comment on what she's doing. Like that idea of like a parrot on your shoulder or something. You're trying to be the parrot on her shoulder. Which people can do when they like somebody or when they don't like somebody, But yeah, so maybe work with her, work the energy blocks of yours that cause you to fence jump, we could call it. What blocks within you, what baggage of yours, from that doesn't have to do with her really, cause you to not be able to just observe from afar with boundaries. The final person you listed, she whacks you, but you're not courting her, and the whacks right now aren't really making much impact, so tone it down. I mean, that I would say is a typical yes for you. You tend to be so direct that it just triggers so much in people. So I think, maybe part of it is like a fear of not being taken seriously, or that you have, or a fear of, that people aren't listening to you. And so you tend to speak in a way to kind of grab attention, but it backfires because it ends up being overly triggering. So maybe work on clearing fear of acceptance, fear of being not listened to and not respected. That kind of idea. Yeah. So you could work on clearing that kind of thing. Someone says, "Hi, Janet. I worked on my stop it blocks this morning." Yes, which we worked on in the healing right before this one. So they'll be in the playlist for December healings that is linked in the info section, and yeah, it's linked in the info section of this live stream. December 2024 healings. Anyway, stop it blocks are from other people dumped into your space to get you to stop doing something. Did those blocks contribute to making my November week-long vacation and train wreck of a physical pain and illness? Oh yeah, I remember you posted a question about this under a video, but it was like there was just too much energy on it. I was like, don't want to deal with that right now. What can I do to safeguard my December vacation? Thanks. Yeah, there's so much energy around this question. It was just like I was like, oh, no, can't deal with that. I think part of it is because you were handing me the pain. I mean, accidentally, but it's like you're like, this is all the pain I felt on my vacation. Glonk. You know, I was like, whoa, no way, not dealing with that. So try to, you know, when you have a question for me or anybody really, you can hand the energy of that question to your angels and say, angels, help me with this. So that way, because your angels are the ultimate teacher, right? And so that way they start helping you to clear your baggage and heal and get your wisdom about something. And then the person you've asked, you know, hopefully they answer in their own time and whatever, you know, but that way it's less likely that you're pain dumping while asking the question. But anyway, okay, so it looks like it's related more to your ex-husband. A couple siblings though. But I would say ex-husband 70%, siblings 30%. As far as like contributing factors to why the train wreck experience happened in your last vacation. Including the physical dramas that you had, like the physical health dramas. I think it was mostly boundary issues that became physical health problems. I think you have some agreements that you could clear with actually both spiritual agreements that you could clear with both your ex-husband and your siblings. So you imagine them like paper, you know, stacks of paper, or however you want to imagine them, sticks or rocks or whatever, and then just say, angels, help me to, you know, clear or transform these agreements so they're healthy for me, and just, you know, run gold light through them. But it's like you kind of agreed to be the helper and the manager and the kind of like the savior, the one who's careful and responsible and sober, like not necessarily about alcohol, but like the mature one. And so those agreements are kind of very unclean, you know. It's like makes you the sort of like the substitute mommy of these people, like your ex-husband and your siblings. So yeah, clear any sort of mommy agreements, any unclean agreements between your, I mean, you have done that in the past, but I think you've gotten more present and you've grown. So there are more agreements that you're ready to get rid of than before. And that I would say that would be the biggest thing you can work. Along with that, I think the 7th-8th stuff could be a nice thing to work along those lines of making your next vacation safer for you. Proactively work your 7th to 8th connection like we did today. Repairing and unblocking. But yeah, clearing agreements. So that, because those agreements are really in the way of you just indulging and helping yourself and nurturing yourself. And, you know, even dealing with your work in a way that's compassionate to yourself, you know, because it's like you tend to view your current job as like the only compassionate thing to do is to quit the damn thing. You know? And your angels are like, you're kind of not exactly hearing us right. I mean, they wouldn't totally freak if you quit your job, but they're like, it's kind of like, you know, missthepoint.com, you know, it's like you can achieve without being a martyr. And they're like, you're missing how to do that. So you're just thinking, well, that's not a good thing to achieve. But it's like the problem with not clearing how you achieve is that you think that job is the problem, where that job is not the problem. The problem is you being productive and successful ends up being like a lot of martyrdom wrapped into that. So it's the martyrdom that's the problem, not the job itself. That job certainly gives you plenty of opportunities to be a martyr. But if you don't clear that stuff, you can work martyrdom into any job. So I hope that makes sense. So clearing the martyrdom, any sort of agreements that make you martyr yourself, but any sort of baggage that makes you martyr yourself. Martyr meaning, you know, overgive or punish yourself or deny yourself enjoyment, you know, all that kind of stuff. All right. So I'll just make a little note, martyr. So I just did it already. I just finished it, but that was the martyr stuff. I'm sure several people need to go back and listen to the martyrdom stuff. So I wanted to mark that. What we just finished talking about martyrdom and, you know, clearing agreements and baggage that cause you to become a martyr, and make things more painful than they need to be. Much more painful than they need to be. All right. So moving on. Someone says, thank you, Janet. Feeling mellow and calm. How have I been doing on my manifesting? Anything I could be working on that I'm not being calm and chill is new for me. Yay. I would just keep doing, you know, extended sinus masks plus, you know, the hot pants stuff is really great for you. The biker shorts stuff that we did today. And I do like that Creative Rings 7th, 6th vision stuff that we did, you know, getting the beings out of your vision. That could be a big deal. So I guess if you do one thing from today, well, two things from today, it would be the biker shorts and the getting the beings out of your vision by working Creative Rings 7th and 6th chakra all at once and pulling out the beings. But if you do three things, then, you know, do more of the 7th to 8th chakra connection repair. Okay. It'd be interesting to see too how your mom is after, because she gets the healings too, how your mom is after today's healing. Because she had a lot of damage and hard objects stuck in her 7th to 8th chakra connection. Which contributes to her evasiveness and just being overly externally focused. Okay. Someone says, thank you for the healing, Janet. You're welcome. I feel grief very intensely right now and keep unblocking my grounding. Good job. Unblocking your grounding. See? So smart. I would also unblock, you know, the bottom of all your auras, right? Because typically when you feel grief intensely, it's not releasing, right? Because you can go through something really terrible, but if you're good at releasing grief, it just, you know, it's not easy, but it's way easier than it would have been. So when it blocks up, when you feel it intensely, things have blocked up. So you can unblock your chakras too, your major chakras, and your auras, of course. But for you at this moment, I would say you know, second chakra, first chakra, and second chakra, first layer, top and bottom. You can just focus on that. There is a walkthrough if you like walkthroughs. It's something like get into first and second chakras and first and second layers, something like that. I don't. Let's see. Maybe I'll be able to find it. I'll be able to find it. Yeah, found it, baby. Get present in first and second chakras is a great one. It's 23 minutes long. I have purple hair in it, so there's a plus. It's from 5 years ago. You can see how. Oops, sorry. It's funny. But anyway, I will just link in the chat this this video. Get present in second and first chakras is would be a really nice one for grief releasing and just in general in life. But yeah, great instincts for that you've been unblocking your grounding already. But yeah, that's the idea. You got the idea. It's just to keep it releasing out of you. If it releases out of you, it's not going to feel intense. So if it becomes intense, just something happened with the releasing. So just do some extra unblocking to get it going again. Like backs of first and second chakra, back of grounding, unblock that stuff. This is hi, Janet. Thanks so much. You're welcome. It's been very tense with my husband again. Yes, well, that is not a surprise. Anything I can do to make him more tolerable. Now that's a complex phrase, isn't it? To make him more tolerable. Well, you know, so many aspects to that question. You know, there's changing him, which, you know, good luck with that. There's, are you doing something that you could do differently so that he's not so triggered? Or can you just clear your own triggers so that he can be, you know, a raging asshole and it won't bother you? Had to say it. I'm not, you know, whatever. I'm just having fun with the question. But anyway, so that's the idea, is you don't really make someone more tolerable. Typically, you just improve your tolerance levels. You know, I mean, you know, because I'm not healing him and you're not probably directly healing him. Obviously, you would have to get his consent if you did give him an energy healing. I mean, he's whacking you a lot and he's courting some very key and sensitive energy blocks of yours. So that's how it's intolerable. The whacks aren't really making such an impact at the moment because the 7th to 8th chakra connection work that we did, repairing that, like caused you to have a much, much stronger aura right now. So his whacks aren't getting through, but his cords into like fears of yours and self-esteem issues of yours are triggering those issues, the fear and the self-esteem. And so that's having a very, it's really making the situation harder for you to experience. So basically just melt the cords that are going into his, that are going into your baggage. I mean, how do you make him more cooperative and compassionate? I don't think he's in the mood to be cooperative and compassionate. I think he has some early childhood baggage triggered, and it's like he kind of thinks you're his mom, and he's mad that you're being a bad mom, even though you're not his mom. You're the mother of his children. And you have a lot on your plate. But he's not really getting the memo that, you know, this whole like 2-year-old tantrum vibe is, you know, just him stuck. I said hi to him just for a second, and I said, "You want to work with your angels?" And then he's like, "Oh." And then so when he's like that, when he's really sort of more out there as far as his behaviors, he's not able to hear his angels at that time. So you could, if you want, just, you know, don't call him an asshole telepathically, but just be like, "Hey, you know, you have angels. What do your angels say about all this?" You know, and just remind him if you want. I mean, because he's already whacking you, so it's not like you don't want to trigger him. You know, he's already triggered. So you don't really have anything to lose by mentioning his angels. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm sorry that you're having big challenges. Maybe also, I think about your inner strength. And we did a video about stronger and weaker parts of you. I think that could be, I don't know that you need to do that exact video though. Just think about like the strong parts of you turning towards the weak parts of you and like carrying the weak parts of you, because you're wanting your husband to carry the weak parts of you, and he's busy doing his 2-year-old tantrum because he's stuck in childhood traumas from this and past lives. So that's not going to happen. And besides, like technically, energetically, I mean, yes, it would be nice if he was supportive, but really nice. For God's sakes. But but if you can just imagine your strong parts of you, because you do have, you know, everyone has strong parts of you, strong parts of them, you know, so imagine your strong parts of you, you know, maybe dressed like Wonder Woman or something, or however the strong parts of you dress, and then have those strong parts of you turn towards the weak parts of you, and, you know, be like that helping hand that you're looking for from him. And that's true for everybody, even if you're in a decent relationship. You know, you want to have the strong parts of you turn towards the weak parts of you, not so that you're obsessed with all your wounds and everything, but because if they don't turn towards each other at all, then you're overly dependent on other people and hoping that they'll heal your wounds, which is sort of a long shot. So hope that makes sense. So try to imagine the strong parts of you helping the weaker parts of you. You really do have strength from different past lives, all that you've learned over lifetimes. So maybe try to think about that and imagine that. And also, of course, let your angels help the weaker parts of you. So imagine the weaker parts of you and just, you know, let the angels heal and restore those weaker parts of you. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to label that. That's just done, but it was a discussion on the stronger and weaker parts. I'm just going to write stronger, weaker. So that's just finished, but I talked about advice about the strong parts of you and the weak parts of you, and having the strong parts of you turn towards the weak part of you, and letting the angels heal the weak parts of you. Yada, yada. So I have a feeling that a couple people might want to refer to that. So that's the section just before what I was talking about. Just before now. All right. So then moving on. Someone says feeling nice and mellow after the healing. Oh, good. Yeah. That 7th to 8th repair, 7th to 8th connection repair stuff is a big part of why you feel a lot better right now, because of the positive the empowering chain reaction of that So you could do more of that if you want. Someone says celebration emojis. Thank you. Someone says, how did my ex do with this healing? And you mentioned his initials. Yes, because he also got the healing. He's a little stuck in anger. I mean, more than a little, but he's not angry at me. I had to ask him. I was like, are you angry with me? He's like, oh no. But it's just really clear all this like bottled up anger that he's got. He did okay with the healing. I think the problem is like his idea of male strength, like being a man, you know, like a lot of men are raised in a way that they're not allowed to cry, they're not allowed to be scared or vulnerable. And so they kind of overdo the yang part. And then since they're ignoring their vulnerabilities and their sensitivities, then it becomes this invasive yang that's overly external, and it's kind of a mess. It did help him. I mean, the 7th to 8th repair stuff helped him the most. Also healing the far off parts of him helped. I think he's still not okay with being divorced. Like, again, it's like whatever he was brainwashed about what a good man is when he was growing up, it doesn't involve getting a divorce, you know? So, but he doesn't want to be a bad man, you know? So it's like this, he's still, yeah. I mean, the healing helped as much as it could have, but he's still working through stuff. I just reminded him that he could get angel classes about, you know, being a man and manhood and, you know, how to, you know, clearing baggage about manhood and all that. So he's like, oh, okay. He's going to take more angel classes about all that. Someone says, love from Australia. Well, hello to you. Thank you. Whew. Don't know that I'm going to be able to get all this stuff done. This is too much. Yeah, so if I didn't get to your comment, repost it under the video. If you want an answer. When it's a video, repost your comment underneath as a comment, and I will get to them when I have time. So what I'm gonna do, thanks for the hellos, thank you. I'm just gonna pick out like one or two that the angels want me to pick out before I wrap up, but the angels are like, wrap it up, you need to rest. So like I said, repost it as a comment later. Feel free to do that under a video, and then just hand the energy of the question to your angels, and then so you know you're not pain dumping or something, and then I will post a reply to your video comment when I have time, if you repost it under the video. So I'm just gonna pick one or two out that the angels want me to do now. Someone says, I loved clearing between the 7th and 8th chakras. Yes, that 7th to 8th connection, which was the biggest, by far the most consequential part of the healing, which we did pretty early in the healing, right after grounding. Because there's such a positive chain reaction from that, I wanted to kind of benefit from that positive chain reaction for the rest of the healing. It felt amazing. However, my grounding never feels like it is flowing anymore. I could sit there for hours and I'm still super blocked. Any advice? Yeah, that's not true. Something's up with your perception of your grounding. Your grounding unblocks fairly well after about 10 minutes of you working on it. I don't think you're seeing it accurately. So again, like we were talking about, you know, we said, well, maybe if someone has a problem seeing their creative rings, then they probably have one or two invasive beings that are there and also in their 6th chakra, because 6th is vision, right? So if I'm saying, okay, something's wrong with your ability to see your grounding, that means something is in your grounding, but also all the way up in your sixth chakra. It's kind of like giving you this blackout effect. Probably A, because they want to keep hanging out in your grounding, and B, because they would like to discourage you and sort of convince you that your work is having no effect. So therefore, what's the point? You should stop healing yourself. Stop this silliness of getting more present and kicking people out of your space. No, it could be a person, it could be an invasive being, but so imagine you're grounding and then all the way up to your sixth chakra and what's woven through in all those places, and just freeze it all, yank it out, give it to your angels. Freeze it, yank it out, give it to your angels. Freeze it, yank it, give it to your angels, which I just did a little bit of just now for you because I've already healed you, so it's easy. Freeze it, yank it out, give it to your angels. Freeze it, give it to your angels. So that's the idea. But yeah, your grounding is pretty nice actually. So I think you're not seeing it accurately. Maybe I don't know if you imagine like a quarter of it at a time. Would that make you imagine it more accurately? Like if you sort of change up how you're trying to see it, or if you see your physical body grounding separate from your astral body grounding and just, try to look at it differently, maybe that would make you see it differently. But you can just keep working, grounding and sixth chakra and whatever's in both places and just get it out. Angels, here you go. Angels, here you go. You keep doing that too. But you can put it in your survey too, the post-healing survey about that. And if there's been any progress with that, that is interesting. But yeah, you don't have to work on your grounding more than like 10 minutes. It's pretty decent. I mean, you should be able to unblock it much quicker than that even, but even on your least effective day, 5-10 minutes of grounding work is great, is effective. Someone says, so sorry, didn't mean to pain dump. Thank you for your help and healing. That's fine. I mean, ideally don't pain dump, but it happens. Okay, so picking out just one more. Yeah, just one more. Feeling some pain around my eyes, tension, headache, not sure if it's related to the healing. It's kind of related to the healing. So if we look at the face meridians, right? And then, of course, imagine also the major chakras. So 7th chakra in the top of the head, 6th chakra behind the forehead, 5th chakra here. So we did cool work. I don't know if you saw it, but the Friday healing 2 days ago, we did the stomach meridian, the beginning part of it that starts the green line, that starts under the eye and then goes along the jawline all the way up to here. And then, this part usually we have worked before. Well, a little bit. I mean, this part we've worked a lot. The green line right there, stomach meridian as it goes down, we've worked that, but this part we worked. But anyway, your tension, headache, you just have a lot of energy coming right at you in your eye area. So the question is, how can it just come in like that? I mean, yeah, the question is too, okay, well, if it's invasive beings, just have them recycled, and that'll cut down the pressure quite a bit. But then, there's got to be energy blocks in your auras or a damage in this area right here directly in front of your eyes for that pressure to happen. Also, some of the meridians there can be blocked, the chakras and the meridians can be like ripped open, causing discomfort. So you could do sinus mask work of just a little bit extra. And the thing is, I think there's one or two sinus masks that invasive beings are like anchored into. So they didn't clear and the invasive beings are like, wow, we really got to keep this here, and so that's giving you this extra pressure buildup. So when you clear sinus masks, extended ones that go all the way down or just ones right around your sinuses, you know, think of the block and then think, okay, well, if there are invasive beings piped into this thing, you know, angels, can you recycle those invasive beings? And then melt the cords from people. And then you should be able to melt the blocks enough. The blocks just sort of go away. And then, you know, if you do that for a bit, you know, and so you keep doing that and it still feel some pressure, you should feel better and there shouldn't be so much coming in at you. Like, I think you've largely fixed that. So there's not energy coming in now anymore, but there's just, you know, tension around here. And you could, you know, do some sinus, just the sinuses right there. And just kind of, there's a couple invasive beings just like sort of hanging out there going, hell no, we won't go. They're also like right in front, but they're in the sinuses. So just say, your angels, if there are any invasive beings in my sinuses or in the front of my sinuses, can you please recycle them? And then there could be like, you know, in traditional Chinese medicine, it's like you can have heat trapped in an area or cold trapped in an area. And if you have cold trapped in an area, then heat feels good. If you have heat trapped in there, then cold feels good. So you could, I don't know if you have like one of those microwavable things that you put over your eyes to just like relax that area, you know, but that might be nice for you. If you don't have something like that, you know, a mask that you can microwave to heat up and just have it right there, then you could use like a washcloth, you know, like just put a lot of hot water on it, and then when it's still kind of hot, just rest it right here and just lie back with your eyes closed a little bit. But because there could be like a physical impact from having so much energy pummeling there for a couple minutes, that, you know, you need a little actual physical help as well with something warm. So anyway, I hope that helps. All right, you guys, amazing. Oh, what the last question, what gemstone is this on my hand? This is amber. So amber, as you know, I'm sure, is not a gemstone. It's a petrified tree sap. It's really old and it's from trees, so that's automatically cool. But it's, yeah, it's just a big hunk of amber. So what else? And this is just rubber or silicone or something. It's flexible. Alrighty. So that's it. I will show Izzy, but I'll just show him quickly. I won't bother giving him treats and everything on camera. I did 2 days ago though, so if you want to see Izzy get treats, you can look at the video from 2 days ago. So I'm about to show him, and then that's it. We'll be done. And like I said, if I didn't get to your chat comment, I do appreciate it anyway. But if you want me to answer something about your chat comment, repost it as a video comment when this is a video. Let's see. Okay, so showing you Izzy. And he has a cone now. Oops, wait, I gotta. Last time I tried to do this camera, I messed up and I jostled some wires, so I think that messed up my sound, so I'm trying to not do that this time. So there he is, looking cute. He's whimpering a little bit because he's uncomfortable. We have to figure him out because the medications he's on give him too many side effects. So gotta figure that out. But anyway, that's Izzy. He's amazing. He's wonderful. We love him. Alrighty. So you're amazing. Please give this live stream a thumbs up if you would like. And that's my thumbs up for you. And yeah, there you go. You're amazing. Yay. Oh, we'll end with some confetti because I'm addicted to confetti. Yay, bye.